subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
Okay, we got Nairobi Nathaniel in here. We got Nairobi Nathaniel. Nathaniel, what is it, Nathaniel? Hop on in, Nathaniel. Nathaniel, Nairobi Nathaniel. He's an East African who pretends to be white. All right, waiting on, he's doing a lot of hand gestures, but go ahead, Nathaniel. Yes, what's going on, Nathaniel?
I read your ChatGPT lawyer tweets about the Anthony situation. Just want to say that you're wrong about the stand your ground laws in Texas.
Well, what am I wrong about?
If you have an illegal weapon, you have a duty to retreat before you can use such weapon, unless you are unable to.
Cal Rittenhouse had an illegal weapon. He didn't have a duty to retreat, and I
Well,
don't give a
Cal
damn.
Rittenhouse was
I
retreating.
don't.
Have you seen the video?
I don't
He
give a
was retreating.
right. And I
He
don't give
was
a.
running away from them.
Yeah, but yeah, he went up there, and again, they negate all of the shit he did beforehand. They
Which was
negate.
what?
Why were they chasing him in the first place? Y'all never like to talk about that.
Even the person who he shot originally, that person was chasing him too. Even brother Kanye came up here a couple weeks ago and said that it was justified because they were chasing him. Watch the video. They were
Mm-mm,
chasing him with skateboards.
mm,
They were going to hit him across the head. One of them had a
right,
gun on them.
right. But
They were
nobody, they
chasing
didn't draw.
him.
Nobody had a gun drawn on him. Nobody had a gun drawn on
Yes,
him.
they did. There was the one guy with the gun who he shot in the bicep.
Yeah,
He survived though.
right. Why were they chasing him in the first place?
Whether they were chasing him in the first place, that doesn't matter.
It
Imagine you were
does. Oh
teleported.
no. Why? Yeah.
Okay,
See,
why
that's the
were they
yeah.
chasing him in the
That
first
does
place?
matter. See, yeah, that's the thing. When it's a
How does
suspected,
it
no,
matter?
no, when it's a suspected white supremacist, what they did is inconsequential. Just your reaction to them, that's the bad thing.
Okay, so what should he have done?
Just
Got hit
like,
in the head with the
no, slow,
skateboard?
slow down. Just like Austin instigated an altercation with Carmelo. Carmelo
That's
did not. It
inconsequential.
is not okay. Well, it's in. Okay, it's inconsequential when it's the black person, but it makes a difference when it's the white person.
Both had a duty to retreat. Cal had a duty to retreat, and also Carmelo
And he
had a duty to
retreated, and
retreat.
he did retreat after he neutralized the situation, right?
No, you have to retreat before you use a
You're
weapon.
gonna
That is
retreat.
illegal.
How you? It's in. You're in the rain. You don't know what these people are gonna do, and they're standing over you, and they're bigger than you,
That's not an excuse. That's what the law
and
is.
they're
If you look
putting
at
their
penal
hands
code,
on you, and they're putting their hands on you.
if you look at penal code 931E, you have a duty to retreat if you have an illegal weapon. You cannot use that illegal weapon unless you have made an attempt to retreat, which he did not do, and therefore
If you have reasonable suspicion that you will be harmed or killed, you have a right to stand your ground and use whatever tactic or means to neutralize the threat based on Texas
that's not
law.
what the law says. That's not what the law says. You looked at penal code 9.31, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
Go
did.
to that section and then go down to E, which talks about where and when you have a duty to retreat before using a weapon.
Read it.
I mean, I could pull that up right here,
Okay,
but
read it. Go
also
ahead,
you,
read it. Read it.
well, I need to pull it up. It's going to take me a long time though.
Okay, go.
It's
I
going to
want
take
you
me
to
up
read
to
it.
15 seconds. All right,
Okay.
let me pull it up.
Yeah, go ahead, Nairobi Nate. Go ahead and read it. Because now when it comes to black folks, now you should retreat first. But if you can't retreat, you can
All
defend
right, I have it
yourself.
right here.
Yes, go ahead.
A person, this is
What law?
Texas code.
Texas
This
code
is what
what?
you brought up. You brought this up about 3 days ago in your tweet, your ChatGPT lawyer tweet,
Mhm.
where it says, okay, a person who has a right to be
What's the
present.
code? Wait. What's the code? Let's get our lawyer game on. What's the code?
Texas Penal Code Section 9.31, self-defense. That's the stand your ground law. This is from your tweet. Go ahead and pull it
Okay,
up.
well, Texas Penal Code Section 9.
0.31. And then E.
Hold on. Okay, let's read it together.
Yes, B, E. Okay, so A person who has a right to be present at the location where the force is used, who has not provoked the person against whom the force is used, and who is not engaged in criminal activity at the time the force is used, is not required to retreat before using force as described by this section. So, because he was engaged in that prohibited activity, which is having a knife, he is required to retreat before using force as described by
Where
that.
does it say that? Where does it say that? I don't see that.
Scroll down to B and then go to E.
Okay, I don't see that part, but I'm looking that up. Hold on one second,
Control
because
F.
because I'm looking
Control
at
F and
I'm
then
okay.
retreat.
Okay, because I'm looking at another thing. It says if you're committing self-defense is not justified. If you are committing a crime, it says it's not justified. But was that knife a crime? Because now is the
Yes,
knife
it was a
the
prohibited
knife? No,
weapon.
no, no. Because nobody's saying what how many inches the knife was. See, everything is kind of hinging
That
on the size of that knife.
no, that's also inconsequential. If you look at the school handbook, it is uh, prohibited for you to have that knife, and also because he's a minor, it's prohibited for him to have that knife at school.
But here's
So
the
to
thing,
help,
that's not a school. That wasn't a school, even though the school district, they control that track. Technically, that's not on school grounds. So that's a gray area right there as far as
no, it
legalese.
isn't. No,
It
if you
kind
look
of
at the
is. That's
actual
not a
law,
school. It's not a
if you look at
school
laws, they don't say school. They say school-owned facility. They
or
say educational
premises.
facility. They say premise. Yeah, they use those
Right.
terms. They don't say school. So it's a
But
school
they leave
facility,
it
school
gray.
premise.
They leave those areas gray, just like with Kyle Rittenhouse. They left some shit gray just in case a
What did
white
they leave
hold on,
gray?
slow down.
What,
Listen. They leave some of those areas gray just in case they need to get a white supremacist off. Just like with Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, you're not supposed to have a straw purchase gun at all. Especially if
that
you're
is legal.
is what?
That's legal for
No,
him. It wasn't. Firstly, it wasn't him who purchased it. It
right, the
he
straw
it was his
purchase,
friend who did it.
right, and he was in possession of an illegally purchased weapon, and then
No, let's.
they got into a little
Okay.
gray area about that. Well, a long rifle, you could have it if you're going hunting and all of that, but since there were no federal charges against him because that's a federal charge, and because the federal government didn't charge Kyle, the judge was like, I can leave it up to my discretion to do something with it or just dismiss it. So he played white daddy and dismissed it. So yeah,
Okay. First
it
off,
was I'm white not say so basically.
no. This is what happened. So his friend's a minor. Cal's friend is a minor. He purchased the gun illegally, and the friend was he pled guilty, and he was punished for that. He had to pay a fine, but it wasn't illegal for Cal to have that gun because it was a long barrel gun, and it is illegal. It is legal in the state of Wisconsin for a minor to have a long barrel gun. So that wasn't at all against the
Brother
law.
Tariq,
Yeah, go ahead,
how you
Robbie.
doing? You know what is pathetic? That this tether's sitting here regurgitating some of those same "I'm white and I say so" talking
That's
points
the
I see
law.
some of the
The law is
suspected
why I'm
white
white and I say
supremacists
so.
say about the student handbook. But here's what I brought up the other night. It's also in the student handbook when it talks about conduct of students
Bullying. Yeah,
for
And
them
yeah,
to
yeah.
not be bullying.
bullying,
Bingo.
right.
So my whole point is, it's like it's not
What does
like
that
the
have
brother
anything to
went
do
there
with
to
this?
harm anybody, but still the fact that you'll go as far as you will to try to side, what I'm saying, with getting this young man locked up when he was defending himself
It's the
just
law.
shows
What
how pathetic
you're
you are.
I'm
It's not
FBA
even
and I
about
say so
it's not
nonsense
even
isn't
about it's not even about the
pacier.
law.
It's the law.
It's the
It's
leaps
the
in
law.
logic.
The
It's
the
the leaps
the
and
leap of
logics,
logic
man.
isn't that's law. It's law. You can cry about it being blah 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 bullying, but that's the law. That's what the law says. You can't just make up stuff because you're FBA and you think that the world should
All you're
be for
doing is
you.
talking over me, and to be
Because
respectful to
what you're
brother
saying is
Tariq's stage,
illogical. You're bringing up
I'm
stuff
gonna
that
land
is
my plane.
inconsequential. Talking about the handbook says bullying. What does that have anything to do with this? The handbook could say he can't wear red socks. That doesn't mean that Anthony would get off. That doesn't make any sense. You bringing up bullying makes no bearing at all to this case. It's what the law says. And even Tariq earlier admitted it that
You bringing up
he
the
ran.
handbook period. First they claim that it's a murder charge, which if it has something to do with the state, then anything as far as him breaking a rule with the school book, okay, you get what it's suspended or get some type of little minor,
That's
what
not
is
what
it,
I'm getting at
misdemeanor.
here.
Man,
I'm
can you
not
quit
talking
running
about
your dick sucking lips
dude.
for a
I'm
minute?
talking
I'm
about the law.
about
I'm not
sick of
talking
some of
about
you
a
feathers,
school
to be
handbook.
honest with you,
Well,
bro. You
well,
you are
stop being
sitting
like
here.
you then if you
You
have an issue
listen.
with it.
You do everything in your
Dude, don't
power.
you have to?
You
Don't you
do
have to order
everything within your
Popeyes?
ability to sit here and run your lips, run your mouth, being disrespectful to our people. We see you come up here all the time, sitting here trolling. This young man's life is on the line,
Dude,
and
this
you
is
have the
BET
nerve to sit
Bible.
here. You have the
You talking
nerve
about
to
we the
sit here.
Bible?
You have the nerve to sit here with your decrepit self to sit here and try to side with white supremacists, trying to find a
It's the
loophole
law,
for this young
not
man
a
to be locked
loophole.
up.
The law isn't a
No,
loophole.
I hope you all get deported. Tariq, I'm gonna land my plane. This guy's
The law isn't
pathetic.
a loophole. I'm not saying that he is punished by the school. I'm saying he's going to be punished by the state of Texas, the law, not some school handbook. So what you're saying about the handbook saying the knife or whatever, that's not my point. Completely irrelevant. Bring some more people up here, Tariq. We're getting deep into here. I think Tariq had to drop off some drugs or something.
You know what? My bad. My bad. I'm up here talking and my own mic was muted. My bad. Shit. I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I dropped the phone and then my mic was muted. So okay. But
Tariq, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that whenever FBAs are fighting in school, that one FBA should just be able to stab the other student in a fist fight?
so do you believe that a suspected white supremacist can sit here and plan to go shoot protesters and then a judge sit up here and coddle him and throw that shit out and say, oops, just because he made a video saying he want to shoot protesters and he went and did it, we shouldn't admit that. I mean, that has
They were
nothing.
chasing him. They were chasing
Well,
a guy with a gun.
but
Come
yeah,
on. They're,
but,
would you do that?
but yeah, sir.
Hold on, brother Tariq. Can I ask you a question real quick
Go
before I
ahead.
drop down? In terms of just common decency, what sense would it make, even if Carmelo wasn't in the right place, to try to tell another human being that they need to go out in the rain? That was the whole point. They were probably having an event. It started raining heavy. You're going to go to the first place you can just to get cover. So again, it does not
It was
justify
limited
the means.
seating.
I'm not
It
talking
was
to you,
limited
man.
seating.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Tariq.
Hmm.
Wouldn't you just say, just on a base human level, the dignified thing to do is not to try to put somebody out in the rain? Secondly, they're not a part of the administration. That's why I'm wondering, there had to be cameras there and there had to be adult supervision. It seems like there was some negligence somewhere. That situation should have never escalated to that point, and I've never heard of anybody trying to put anybody out into the rain,
Dude,
especially.
this emotional mush mouth battle has nothing to do with the law. Okay, you can cry about it being rainy, but that doesn't have anything to do with the law. This is very emotional talk that won't even pass in court, and you know it.
But here's the thing, and thank you. Listen, I don't know where you're getting this thing from, but according to the law, weapon possession that doesn't cancel self-defense rights. That it don't work like that, sir.
What I'm saying is that
No,
you
listen,
have a right to
no, no,
retreat
no, 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 no.
before you
According
use
to
the
because you look at
weapon.
the law, you look at the penal Texas Penal Code 5, 931B5. That doesn't even if the weapon is illegal, that doesn't cancel self-defense rights. You can still defend
Dude,
yourself. That doesn't cancel it, sir.
we just went over this. I said you have a duty to retreat, and if you can't retreat, that's when you can use the weapon. But he
Right, right,
could
right,
have
right.
retreated.
Right,
He
but
could have retreated.
he
He
could
did
not.
not
He don't.
retreat. He didn't make an attempt.
Yeah. If somebody's grabbing him and putting hands on him, you don't know what
No,
somebody's
he
going to
didn't make an
do.
attempt.
No, you don't
So you
know,
think he made an attempt to retreat? Are you
sir.
saying he made an attempt to
He
retreat?
it seemed like he did make an attempt, and then he told him, "Hey, man, leave me alone.
How do you
If
know
you
he? How do you know he made an
if you
attempt?
hit me again," he gave a verbal warning, and the white boy
That's
kept touching him. So you're talking about being chased. That Kyle Rittenhouse was chased, and he was justified. Well, Carmelo was being pursued by these aggressors, and he was justified, just like Kyle, right?
if I threaten someone, that's not me making an attempt to retreat. That's the exact
Well,
opposite.
well,
It's me.
Well, sir, he was being threatened and he was being accosted upon. I mean, hands were being
He
put
was
on
being
him.
threatened. He was the threater. He was
Who?
the person who you just said he was being threatened. He was the person who gave the threat. So how's he
You're
the
threatening
person who
somebody. They're putting their hands on you. You're like, don't put your hands on me again. Don't touch me
which is a
again.
threat?
After
See
they're
what's gonna
hitting
happen.
you,
That's
yeah,
a
you're
threat.
giving a verbal. Well, they're already putting their hands on you, sir.
So how did he retreat then? You said he made an attempt to retreat.
Yeah,
When was this attempt made?
yeah. After he kept telling the person, "Don't put your hands on me." He's
So
up
he
there
tried
in
to
the
get out
rain.
the
He's
tent.
up there in the rain. He's telling the person to leave him alone, and the person kept putting hands on him. That's self-defense all day. You can't say that's not self-defense. That's
That's
self-defense all
not what the
day.
law says.
Yes,
So
that's exactly
you're
what the
saying
law
he made
says.
an attempt to
The
retreat.
law
You're saying he
says
made an
that.
attempt to retreat.
Sir, the law says that. But
So he tried to get out the
and
tent.
also with the law, it says, hey, no matter what, the legal or illegal, that doesn't negate your right to protect yourself. You see?
But it does
It's the
make you have
doctrine.
a right
It's
to
called, look up
retreat.
the doctrine of necessity. Even if the knife's presence on campus was improper, the immediate necessity to use it in a life threatening situation can override that technical violation. Texas Penal Code 9.22, sir. Yeah, that knife was too small or too big. No, no, no. There's the doctrine of necessity. You can use anything to defend yourself. Hell, cutting down a tree in March might be illegal, but if somebody's chasing you in the woods and you grab a tree branch and beat the shit out of them, they can't say, "Well, damn it, you cut the tree down in March." No, this was a very necessary situation. This was the doctrine of necessity. You see how that works?
No, even
Yeah,
let's use this
yeah,
precedent.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
talk
if
about
you're
this.
no,
Let's
no,
talk about
no,
this.
Nathaniel, if your
Let's
life,
talk about
listen,
it.
Nathaniel, for real, if your life is in
Let's talk
danger,
about yeah.
listen, if your life is in danger,
All right.
the doctrine of
Let's talk about
necessity
it.
kicks in. You can't say, well, damn it, if I kick him in his balls, is that illegal? You're not thinking like that. You're thinking I have to neutralize this threat right now. And that's what
Okay,
Carmelo did. He neutralized the threat. Well,
let's talk about the danger. So if two FBAs are fighting in school
okay,
with
sir.
fists, can one
I'm
just
not,
bring up can
we're
one just
talking about reality, what happened. I'm not talking about a hypothetical situation.
this happens in reality? You're saying that
I'm
fist
not,
fights don't happen in
I'm not
schools?
talking about a
Really?
hypothetical situation.
This is not a hypothetical. This happens every day in America where there are kids who are fighting in schools.
What happens in school?
Kids
This
fight in
wasn't a
schools, correct?
fight. This was bullying from strangers. This was somebody just walking up to you, bullying you, and you by yourself. This is not just
That
a
doesn't give
a
you a
bit.
right to just stab them.
Yeah, according to Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny, it does. Yes, it does.
You bringing up those cases
It
makes
does.
no
It's the
sense
same
because
thing. You
there
know,
have been
it's a
cases
yeah.
where.
You can't justify one and then not justify the other, sir.
All
How,
right, so what are your thoughts on?
you're
Okay, so what are your
contradicting
thoughts
yourself. No,
on the one?
we're not doing the double standard. You can't justify Daniel Penny killing a special needs person sneaking up from behind who
That
was unarmed and saying
that's like
that's
me
self
saying
defense.
just like me saying just because a black cop has gotten off with killing a white
No, that's
person
called precedent.
innocently,
So it's
that
called a
that
precedent.
should.
It's called a precedent of self defense. If you want to, we're going to have to be all equal across the board. We're not going to practice the law based on race, Nathaniel. That's what we're not going to do.
I've already said that Kyle Rittenhouse situation is nowhere near similar to
You're
this one, and
right
also you
because
bring up.
he was more justified than Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny wasn't justified, but they justified it anyway. Not Kyle, but Carmelo was for real justified. He was being physically touched on and harmed and threatened by two strangers,
What is
whereas
this thing where you like to bring up?
Daniel Penny was not. Daniel Penny wasn't threatened whatsoever. The man didn't even know he existed. And he was allowed to
What,
kill somebody, sir. And everybody said it was okay. The court said it was fine. You cannot have two tiers of justice based on race. It's going to be self defense across the board. And nobody has more of a right to self defense as our brother Carmelo. He didn't
what is
wake
this
up.
thing where you bring up tangential cases that have
No,
nothing to do with
that's called law. That's what you do.
different
You bring up
jurisdiction?
all cases with legal talking points bring up other cases that set precedents, sir.
All right.
All of
So
them, man.
whenever a white cop
Why?
shoots an
Why is
unarmed
this
black
thing? Why do
person, should
you
we
why
bring up
why do you twist logic in order to appease the white supremacists? That's the question.
the black cop in Minnesota who shot that white woman and got off? Every time a white
He
cop does
didn't
the
get
same thing to a
off,
black person? Yes, he
nor he
did.
went to jail.
And they let him out
He went to
16 months
yeah,
later.
he went to
They let him out
jail. He shouldn't even went to jail
for
16 months.
16. They vacated his
Yeah,
sentence.
he went to jail though.
He
16
got
months,
off
that's
for
a year and a half.
for killing somebody.
He went to
Really?
jail. That ain't getting
For
off. He
16
went to
months.
jail. They didn't get
For
off.
16,
And
they
that's
vacated his
yeah,
sentence.
that
They reversed his
he
sentence.
went to jail. The fact that he went to jail, period, shows what we're talking about. A lot of these white supremacist race soldiers, when they shoot black people, they don't see a jail cell. They get rewarded. He didn't. He went to jail and it was justified. And they said, okay, we got to let him out because it was justified. It wasn't malicious. So
Him
yeah,
shooting that Australian woman was justified.
yeah, it wasn't malicious. He didn't shoot her just because. She just kind of popped out there and bam, there it was. He didn't do that. It wasn't malicious. Like these race soldiers are maliciously shooting black people multiple times in the back and all this weird
That's
shit.
sick. That's
Wait,
just contrarian
do
sickness.
you think? Wait, Nate, Nasty Nate. Do you think
That's
that
just sick.
Nasty Nate? Do you think Ashley Babbitt
Um,
was? Do you think she was justified or not justified? What do you think about Michael Bird?
that's just sick. Oh, that's just sick.
You can just
That
you're
Australian
deflecting.
woman,
You're deflecting.
dude. That's,
Michael
you guys look
Bird.
up that case that he's talking
Michael
about. That's
Bird.
no, he should have shot her in the lower extremities, not her heart
What?
or her upper body.
You think he should have shot her in the leg or something?
Yes,
Why?
it's a woman because she's a woman
Well, Breonna Taylor was a woman,
with a thuggered boyfriend,
so that's just
and that's who the cops were aiming at.
so you think she was justified in getting shot in while she didn't have no clothes on in her home because of her thug boyfriend?
Yes,
All right,
and
well there
speaking
we
of
go.
that,
Then Ashley Babbitt.
hold on,
There you
hold
go.
on.
Thank you. Then Ashley Babbitt should have got them hot things too. So we're on the same page. See, there it is. All right, then Ashley Babbitt should have got them hot things too. Thank you so much, Nate.
And it's funny you talk about
I
that. You don't
love
talk
being
about
on the
Mike.
same page. There you go. So that's justified. Then Ashley Babbitt, a sister sitting at home in her bed with no clothes on, getting shot up. If that's justified, then Ashley Babbitt running up in the Capitol doing a violent insurrection. She was supposed to get them hot things up in her. That was justified too. We don't do the double standard, family. We don't do that double standard nonsense. We don't do that at all. Boy, we got a lot of people up in here. Shout out to everybody in here. Let me get EJ in the building. Let me get brother EJ in the building. What's up, EJ?
You can hear me.
I can hear you great. How you doing, fam?
Thank you, brother. I do want to say rest in peace to Ashley Babbitt. These crackers want to use these crackers want to use the law when it's to their advantage. And that idiot was getting on my nerves because I was asleep a couple of hours ago. But these white folks want to just be up here talking crazy about this brother who was actually defending himself. But if this role was reversed and it was two black people and the white kid was being bullied, and if he stabbed the black kid in his damn heart, these white folks will be out here saying salute. You did that nigga justice. But when it comes to us defending ourselves, they want to be out here crying, bitching, moaning, and complaining. Now his parents out here have two GoFundMe's for some strange reason. They out here getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations, but you saltine crackers are out here crying, bitching, and moaning and complaining about Carmelo actually trying to get true justice for actually him defending himself. See, these white folks like to use the law to their advantage. But when black folks are out here defending themselves and practicing their Second Amendment rights, they want to talk stupid and act crazy and be overdosing off crystal meth. So I do want to say, Nathaniel, you and to every white supremacist who's in this comment section and all around the world, we're gonna defend our brother, and y'all just gonna eat shit and overdose off fentanyl. But with that being said, you can go on and drop me down, Tariq. Thank you for letting me speak, brother.
Thank you, brother. Respect. Yeah, listen, we ain't doing that double standard. That's not working. That legal double standard nonsense. No, no, no. We ain't playing that. And let me talk to the dominant society, some of the non-blacks, the non-FBAs. Let me explain to you guys why that racial double standard thing, that don't really work out for you either. Allowing racial hypocrisy in the justice system, especially around self-defense cases, let me let y'all know how that kind of backfires on you in the dominant society. Because see what it does, it creates a legal standard that delegitimizes the law. If it's going to be a dual law, then the law ain't really legitimate. You see, when white defendants, when they are routinely excused under self-defense claims, despite their aggression, but black people, we're denied that same right, even when our lives are in danger, even when we're being harmed, then you're showing that there's two systems of justice and a visible disparity that undermines the idea that laws are objective, that laws are neutral, and laws are universally applicable. And then what happens is people are going to lose faith in courts and law enforcement, and that leads to widespread legal cynicisms and a lot of resistance to cooperate with that system. Okay? And what that does, it also signals to the public that justice is racially conditional. If self-defense laws, if that only works when a white person invokes them, well, that tells the public that any type of protection under the law is a privilege of whiteness. It's not a constitutional right. So that reduces the law from a standard of fairness to a racial tool. So what happens? The backlash is marginalized communities. They're going to start believing that they got to protect themselves outside of the law. And that's going to start that breeds civil unrest and retaliatory violence. Going back to Kyle Rittenhouse, you see, look at that. Because see, it starts to that incentivizes racial vigilantisms. The Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny, that sent a dangerous message. Like, if you're white, you can provoke, instigate, and escalate a situation, and then you'll be rewarded with illegal impunity by claiming self-defense. And people be like, okay, if the system ain't gonna protect me, well, damn, God gonna protect me. I just crash the fuck out. And unfortunately, sometimes vigilantes start targeting the wrong community or the wrong person. Y'all put a target on other people's backs. Going back to Kyle Rittenhouse. You remember when right after they acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse with that janky ass kangaroo court that he up there faking crying and that judge bending over backwards for him, they made a mockery out of the justice system. If y'all remember, right after that verdict, there was some dude, black dude, went up there at some parade up there in Wisconsin and just ran down people. And a lot of people believed that that was retaliatory. They thought that they were saying that that was low key kind of revenge for the Kyle Rittenhouse case. That's what um DeSantis was sort of saying. DeSantis he was one of the only ones who really wanted to put that out there like that. Ron DeSantis kind of alluded to that. But a lot of people believe that that was kind of some get back for letting off Kyle. They're like, well, shit, we might as well crash out and get some of y'all on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, that you put a target on everybody else's back. You're like, if you're gonna have a non-justice situation like that, because everybody the consensus was, even though Kyle Rittenhouse shot white people, and that's another thing, you're trying to practice racial injustice and you're targeting your own folks. But the consensus was Kyle was really trying to target black people. That's why they were chasing him, because some black people said that, hey, Kyle, you had your gun pointed at us, man. You were waving your gun in our faces, man. This guy's trying to shoot at us. And this when some of the white people started chasing Kyle away so he wouldn't harm the black people. You see? So that starts to promote vigilantism, and then it undermines um, constitutional protections. The constitutional right starts looking janky. It delegitimizes law enforcement's role. See, when the justice system starts siding with white supremacist suspect instigators, that undercuts the legitimacy of law enforcement. And then people, they start believing that the police and the prosecutors, they're not there to protect justice, but they're there to uphold white supremacy. That further erodes trust. And then what happens is police departments, they face mass distrust and then defunding. See, they have the whole defund the police movement. Yeah. And that fuels racial polarization. You know, a lot of people, they witness injustice, and racial unrest becomes more frequent. And then what happens? You start costing cities billions of dollars in damages. You start draining resources. You start fueling extremisms on all sides. And people start crashing out. Then the taxpayers got to eat that. See, the cops sit up there and let the shit go on, and the prosecutors let it go on, and then the taxpayers got to make all of these payouts. We got to fund these payouts from all of them city damage and property damage. It becomes a thing. The whole no justice, no peace narrative becomes real. And also, it's a bad look internationally when they do little goofy shit like that. That makes the United States look stupid as hell to the international community. And that the international condemnation and embarrassment, nations around the world, they observe how the U.S. handles racial justice and that visible hypocrisy, especially in these self-defense laws. That undercuts America's credibility on human rights and all of that shit. And it's a very bad look internationally. And then that makes more people sympathize with us. They're going to be more sympathetic to Black Americans. Yeah. So it's a very interesting dynamic. All right. Y'all, let's get some folks up in here. Y'all raise your hands because we do have a lot of folks in the building. I want to get some new faces up in here. Let's get Giovanni. We got a couple of Giovannis. We got a Puerto Rican Giovanni. We got a Ecuadorian Giovanni. I don't know which Giovanni you are, Giovanni.
Yo, I'm the Puerto Rican one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're the one from New York, right?
Nah, I'm from California.
Really?
Yeah, I told you this like last time.
It's a couple of Giovannis we have. Okay. You're in California. You're in the Bay Area?
No, I'm in Los Angeles.
Really?
Yeah,
What part of LA you in? Long Beach?
Marina Del Rey.
Okay, out there by the beach. Okay, what's a Puerto Rican doing in LA? How'd you get to LA?
I told you this shit last
I
time.
don't be remembering all of y'all, man. We got thousands of people in here now. So how'd you get to LA? Refresh my memory. How'd you get out here to LA as a Puerto Rican?
I was born in LA. My parents came here like 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so
Yeah.
what's on your mind, Giovanni?
I want to chime in on this Carmelo thing. Is
Mm-hmm.
that okay?
Yeah.
I think two things could be true at the same time. I think Austin shouldn't have been bullying him like that. And also, you don't bring a knife to a fist fight.
He didn't
He
bring a
shouldn't
knife to
have.
no fight. He didn't bring a knife to a fist fight. He didn't know he was gonna be in a damn fist fight. So let's stop
Yeah,
that.
but people are not mentioning who brings a knife to a track meet. Why did he bring a knife?
Because he has a right to do so.
Okay, but
Texas, they bring guns all over the place. Why? Because they have a right to do so. Because they can. You mean who
okay,
brings a knife?
but now his life is ruined because of that.
Well, his life could have
And
been ruined if he got jumped and beat up by two huge dudes. It could have been worse.
Carmelo was bigger than
No, he
the
wasn't.
Austin.
No, he
He was
wasn't.
he
No, he
was like
was.
six. He was like six
No,
five.
he's not.
That's what I heard.
No, you okay? No, he's not no damn. You can look at pictures. Does he look like he's 6'5" in them pictures?
I'm not. That's what they were saying on Twitter.
No. He's like 130 pounds. Look at the police report. He's a little dude. He's like, the police report shows his height and his weight. He's like 130 pounds. Those twins are both 225 pounds each and over 6 feet tall. Come on, dude. You don't even have the
Yeah,
basic facts, sir. Come on.
yeah, I do have the facts, but he shouldn't have took a life, man. That's not okay.
Well, it's not okay
No,
to bully
no,
people and walk up on people and tell them to get up and move and put your hands on people. Is that okay?
that's not. No, I don't care. I'm not on no one side. I don't care.
You
But
clearly on the side of the white guy.
yeah, because he shouldn't have like gotten his life taken away like that.
Well, you shouldn't have ran up on him. If his life was taken based on his decisions. If
He
he
was in a wrong. He was in a wrong tent. He couldn't sit there. He was like in the wrong place to
ain't no
sit.
wrong tent, ain't no assigned tents. You can sit anywhere you want to. There were no assigned seats.
So you're justifying the actions he took.
Self-defense. I'm justifying self-defense, like all of these other people. If Daniel Penny was self-defense and that was justified, if Kyle Rittenhouse was self-defense and that was justified, well, damn it, based on you, that was justified what Carmelo did. Your logic says that.
Okay, so you saying the Daniel Penny case is justified? That's what you're
No,
saying?
no, I didn't think it was justified at all because Daniel Penny wasn't under no threat whatsoever. But y'all justified it. Y'all said that was okay. Y'all said that somehow an unarmed, skinny, hungry, special needs man was a threat to somebody and he was justified in being killed. So if y'all set that precedent, let's use it all
But that's
across the board.
those are two different cases with
No,
different
no,
facts
don't
in the
matter.
case.
No, the same outcome. A person died and a person got off using self-defense. Same thing, sir.
Well,
Same thing.
no. The New York case, it was he broke the social contract.
And
He was
so did Austin. So did Austin. He broke the social contract too. You don't walk up on people telling them to get up. You don't. Social contract means you don't get up and put your hands on people. So he broke the social contract, sir. Same thing, right?
it's not the same thing
Why
though. You're
not?
not
Why not?
because the dude from New York, he was a homeless dude and he was harassing people on the train,
Right.
and
And
he was hitting people with a bat, and
no, he
he was
wasn't.
hitting
Man, if
people.
okay, you're not gonna sit your ass on here and lie.
He was
Don't
about to
sit
hit
your ass on
people.
here like no what you're not going to because when y'all lose arguments and you know you ain't making sense, y'all start making up shit. You're not gonna sit up here and lie. Stop lying. Nobody's been hit with no damn bat.
No, not with a bat, but he was about to hit people,
Okay,
and
no,
the Marines
get off here,
and the
get off
Marine.
here, get off here, because you can't even get your lie straight. Well, they start lying. This is what I'm saying. When you run out of logic, you run out of hypocrisies. You just start making up shit. Well, he was beating people and raping women on the train. No, he wasn't. We ain't doing that racial double standard hypocrisy shit. Yeah. Austin broke the social contract too. You bully people, that's breaking the social contract. You try to get somebody to move out of their seat, you're breaking the social contract. You're not in authoritative position. You put your hands on somebody multiple times, you broke the social contract. Even after they told you don't touch me, you broke the social contract. Same thing. Same results. So it should be the same protection. Miss me with all that is different. Nope. A person got killed and a person got off and a person was allowed to practice self-defense. So our good brother Carmelo should be allowed to practice self-defense and get off under self-defense because he was way more justified than Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny had no justification to sneak up and kill that man. Daniel Penny had to walk across the train. He wasn't even near him. He wasn't even near Jordan Neely, let alone being threatened by him. He wasn't threatened by him whatsoever. They talking about a damn social contract. Get the hell out of here. Austin broke the social contract. Look at Black Radio. Black Radio in the building. Black Radio. All right, Black Radio, unmute that microphone. Shout out to everybody in
Can
here.
you hear me?
What's up? I hear you, brother. How are you?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. How are you?
Oh, okay. Okay. I want to say when it comes to the stand your ground, when it comes to stand your ground, it seems like it always work for the white people, but then when it comes to black people, they look for technicality always.
Right, right. That's what we're saying. That's what we've been pointing out. But thank you, brother. Robert Will. Hop on, Robert Will.
Hi, Tariq. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you, Mr. Will?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. What state are you in?
I'm in Oregon,
Oregon. Okay.
originally from San Diego, California.
Cool. Is it rainy up there still in Oregon?
A little bit.
Okay, there you go. So what's on your mind?
I'd just like to say I agree with you. Carmelo is definitely defending himself.
Yeah.
I just had a question.
Yes.
What do you think about what Austin's father said about the situation?
Well, his dad kind of forgave Anthony. He kind of forgave him. Yeah.
Yeah,
And his
I
dad
think
was like, oh, it's not about race and whoop de whoop. And yes, I've already forgiven him. So I think that I commend the dad for that. I commend the dad for that.
I think that's super telling. I think he knew his son was a bully, and I
Yeah.
think that could be potentially an X factor. Also, that Carmelo warned him.
Yes. Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I believe that is very important because they're trying to say that because he warned him, it was premeditated. It wasn't premeditated. He's putting his hands on him, and before Anthony acted, he's like, "Hey, man, don't touch me. If you touch me, I got something, man. Don't leave me alone. Don't touch me." So you're verbally warning this person, letting them know you don't want to be hurt, you don't want to be harmed, you don't want them to keep accosting you. So he kept doing it, and we saw the results.
Yeah, I hope he walks because I've been comparing and contrasting this with the Rittenhouse case and the Penny case, and they didn't warn anybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my man. Thank you so much, Ron. I
all right.
appreciate you.
Slide on that rude work. Slide on that rude work. Slide on that rude work. Slide on that.